Hey, hello everyone, this is the V2 of how you can use MarkItDown in C#. In the previous demo that I did a couple of months ago, I used MarkItDown with C-snakes. Now this time I took a different approach where I created the Python application in a container using FastAPI where you can basically deploy it and use MarkItDown for anything that you want. Imagine that you have a 300 pages PDF that you need to convert to Markdown to later be part of your AI ingestion process, or you have a Word document or an image or a PowerPoint. I like MarkItDown because it supports tons of documents, and the whole idea of this video is to show you how we can easily do these two parts. First, create a container and then use it directly from a couple of C# applications. We have a simple console that only uploads the document and shows the Markdown. Then we have another console application with a lot of traces and the more detailed explanation of what is happening. And then we have a full Aspire solution where you can use this in an AI chat demo. So hey, let's take a look. And let's start in the repository. It has everything you need here. You have here all of the Python code, and you also have here in the source and samples the C# code to work with this. The first step will be to basically compile, build the Docker image, and then run the container. I'm going to do this, and it's going to take some time, so let's fast forward this. So I'm going to open the app.python file here in Visual Studio Code. It's probably the best way. And the important part to mention here is that we are using fast APIs to do the web service part. And there is support for concurrent calls and more. Read the documentation. It's very well documented. Thanks Copilot for the help there. But what we have here is basically also use Slow API for this. It was a nice learning process for me to do this. And then we have a lot of information, like an example in the road. What we've seen before is MarkItDown Server, where you have the API, the folder, my name, where you can get more info and more. And somewhere here in the bottom, we start to have the convert to Markdown file path. And the whole idea is that we are going to have an endpoint that is going to receive file's binary data, and it's going to save the file, convert it to Markdown, and return the Markdown. That's basically it. And we also have a health endpoint to basically also check that the system is working. And hey, the Python is very simple, a couple of hundred lines of Python. We can do better. I know there is a better way to do this. Any Python programmer who can help with this, I appreciate, but it runs very well, and it also goes fast. And how about .NET? Okay, so what we have here is a set of samples in .NET. We have a simple console sample. Each one of the samples also have a PDF. That is a sample PDF that we use in tons of samples here at Microsoft that benefit options for a fictitious company. And what we have here is literally 20 lines of code where we are going to use our local instance running in Docker, or if you want to run this, you can run it as a Python server if you want. And then we are going to create a multi-part form document, and we are going to pass this as a form to our server, and the server is going to return basically the Markdown, and it's going to show in the console the Markdown. Super easy. If you want to go for a little more complex or advanced scenario, we have the detailed console where we have a lot of logging, a lot of traces. This is literally to understand the step-by-step how this is working. But hey, it's super easy. I will start with a simple console and take a look at this because, as I said, in 20 plus lines of code, you have this up and running. And of course, let's run this. So in order to run this, let me open a new terminal, maximize the terminal. Let's go to the samples, simple console, and do a .NET run. This is the full benefit options PDF, and we have here the full Markdown that's returned by the server. And somewhere here, of course, if I go to the Docker container image, I will see that we have here a temporary file that we use for the conversion and more. So hey, super easy, super nice to run and do. And again, the code is super simple. I really like it. And if you want to do something a little more complex, if you want to see this running in a full solution, what we have here is also a full Aspire application running. Let me minimize the console. We have a full Aspire application running where we are going to use the AI chat template that we have available, and we are going to add a new feature to the AI chat so you can upload your own documents. By default, the AI chat has a couple of documents that you can use. There are 2 PDF. With the new feature, we have this. And the main orchestration happens here in the app host in Aspire, where we can see that initially we have a connection string, we are going to use OpenAI here, and then we are going to run this locally from the server that we have. This is Aspire building the Docker container and getting the endpoint from the container and passing the endpoint to the project, to the AI chat project, so we can use it from there. It's super nice and also super easy to deploy to Azure if we want. So let's take a look here and let's run the Aspire sample. And I know I should probably have here my Aspire console ready. I know that Maddie, Damien, and Fowler are going to be mad with me, but I didn't have time to do this. But let me run the login. I have here Aspire. And if we take a look at this, I know I need to upgrade to the latest version, 9.5, but we have here the MarkItDown server. This is a new server just for this instance. So when I close Aspire, it's going to be shut down. We can see here in the containers that I have two here. I have one created 18 seconds ago. And if I go here to our AI chat application, we can see that we have two documents here, survival, emergency, whatever, and example GPS. Let's upload a new one, Perk Plus PDF. This one is going to be uploaded to and using Markdown, as you saw, was very, very fast. Let's go here to the calls. Let's zoom out a little. And this is the call that we have, the front end, call it the MarkItDown server, the MarkItDown server calling the embeddings when we have the Markdown and save this as part of the vector store. So now let's ask a question. I can remember a question. And as we can see here, we have the answer about Perplux, the document we just uploaded, and we have Perplux, the reference of everything that we have here. And if we go to the traces, it's super nice to see. I think we can, the next one, where we can see the starting point with the system, call to the assistant, call to the user, get the tool calls to get information for the Perplux, process the output and show the information about Perplux with the quotation. And the cool part is that, hey, we have the PDF with the marking lines of what we have here, the reference that we are mentioned, and it all came from the upload that we did with Markdown. So it's kind of nice. All of the code is here, all is up and running here in the Aspire solution. You can also deploy this to the cloud if you want. It's going to be ACD app and it's running on the cloud and it's super, super fast. And I hope you like it. As I said, it's very simple, very powerful. You have all of the info in the repository. And by the way, a colleague here, Pamela and Anthony, the other day were mentioned that if we know another libraries to convert document to Markdown, I don't know. But if you know another libraries, let me know. I really want to see, because they were asking for benchmark, comparisons, and more. I really want to see if we can use something else, and also to test which approach works better. If we can create a container to do this, also use CSnakes, or a mix of the two. So if someone knows about this, please let me know, or hey, even create a PR in the repo and make it work. I will probably move this repo to the official ones later. And by the way, I appreciate the likes, subscribes, and more. You know the deal. See you next one. I hope you like it. And hey, goodbye.